You attract yourself in everything you do. Listen up, man. I'm a 20-year-old entrepreneur, 20-year-old content creator, 20-year-old artist, 20-year-old motherfucking great leader. But how did I get here? Did I get here by handouts, by being spoon fed, by just having everything carved for me? No. I got here for working 30, 40 jobs. I got here for making hundreds of mistakes, going broke, falling on my face, not really having anybody other than God in my corner at times to really resonate with what was going on with me and really be able to help me along my journey. Now, there were definitely great people. There were definitely people that I look to this day for congratulations and gratitude for sure. But for the most part, it was a lonely path. From my perspective, and just speaking for me, I was what you would call somewhat of an early blossom. Like I found myself really early. You know what I'm saying? I found my purpose really early. Um, a lot of things that I was doing, financially, business wise, I did that pretty early, typically speaking, in my context. And what this did to me is it somewhat made me feel as if I could do no wrong. But that's honestly not the truth, right? Because you attract everything you are. And that's the frightening part, right? So the good part of you, the disciplined part of you, you know, the individual that wakes up every morning early, the individual that doesn't sleep in, the individual that doesn't hit the snooze button, the individual that shows up for the meeting early, the individual that takes the accountability for the losses and wins in their business, the losses and wins in their relationship, the losses and wins in life. That individual is also counterparted by the dark version of you, right? The maybe lazier, weaker version of you, right? And the ironic thing about this is the dark version of you doesn't always have to be something negative. We all have a dark aspect of ourselves. And what I would like to call this is the light and the dark spectrum. The light version of you wants to inspire, be positive. The light version of you wants to, what I'm saying, be very enjoyable in what you do, whether it's your purpose, whether if it's spending time with your family, your children, etc., right? But there's a dark version of you. There's a dark version of you that's capable of inflicting force if need be. There's a version of you that's capable of protecting your family if need be. There's a version of you that has cynical thoughts, right? Every thought that you have is not your own. There's a version of you, right, that is not always the happiest, that is not always the most enjoyable, is not the most inspired or motivated, right? But when you realize that the version of yourself that you get to choose, right? Because the ironic thing that I had to realize from all those late nights, all those early mornings, all that sacrifice, all that saying I'm not going to the party because I want to work, right? Not that's I want to work these 60-hour weeks. You know what I'm saying? I want to work these 70-hour weeks. I want to work these, long weekends. Like I don't want a weekend. For so long I never had a weekend. You know what I'm saying? Even to this day I still don't have a weekend. Um, like these small little things are the things that equate to being an individual that is capable, right? There have been many individuals that have been gifted knowledge, have been gifted physical capability, have been gifted the ability to do great things, but they somehow fall short of their own vices, of their own inhibitions, right? Or whatever the case may be. But what I came here to let you know is everything that's happening in your life right now is a result of a catapult of compound interest, right? Now, compound interest is something that equates over time, right? This is why, typically speaking, when people are speaking or manifesting something into their life, it takes time to materialize, right? When you work a job, right, you might get paid every week or every 2 weeks. It takes time for that deposit to pend in. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's on the way, it's coming. Your bank has confirmed it. The transaction is actually in your possession. It's just not there yet. Like literally, you have the money. Every day you clock in and clock out, you know subconsciously that I'm getting paid, right? I just don't have the money right now. Like it's just not here right now. You feel me? But when you realize that those things, right, those small little pieces are going to help you put together this masterpiece, right, in which we call life, right, when it comes to you attracting a reflection of you, right? Because when we talk about people, right, especially for my men, when we talk about men, right, we attract the greatest parts of us, right? But we also attract the darkest parts of us, right? This is why you could, speak to a killer and you can resonate with them. And you might have never done anything like this in your life, or maybe you have, right? But you can resonate with the frequency, right? You know what I'm saying? Not saying that this individual has to be the worst person in the world, but they've just done some gruesome things. And you can also resonate with an individual who may have never done anything like that in their life, right? They may have never even shot a gun, or they may have never even been in a physical altercation with someone, right? But you can resonate with both aspects, right? So when you realize that, you start to realize that, okay, every time I go outside, right, I need to make sure that I'm operating out of the frequency that I want to operate out of, right? We have so many things around us, right? Like television, for example, broadcasting things into our subconscious, and we aren't even being aware of it, right? The things that you see, right? The pixelated images, right? The depictions of these novelties, it's feeding our subconscious mind, right? Just like scrolling on social media feeds our subconscious mind, right? Just like seeing certain things, right? It's feeding our subconscious mind. Now, once again, this does not have to be a negative, only if you allow it to be, right? And if you are actually a subscriber and you watch my channel, you notice I talk a lot about being aware, right? And not only being aware, but being in control of your mind. And the only way you can be in control of your mind is if you're in control of your thoughts. And the only way you can be in control of your thoughts is if you're in control of your subconscious, right? Your subconscious is the remote controller. Your subconscious is the DVR. Your subconscious is basically the entire, you know what I'm saying, like it's like literally the whole broadcast channel. You feel me? So once again, to piggyback off what I was stating, you right now are great. I want you to know that. You are a magnificent person. You are a positive person. But these things have to correlate and align somehow, right? Just because you're a good person, you do good things, does not mean that life has to bear you everything that you desire. There has to be an intention behind, right, why you want to be a businessman. For me, my intention why I wanted to start a business was I want financial freedom for myself and my family, right? I see my family, be the typical middle class, impoverished, all right, living check to check, etc. I wanted to be the individual in my channel, like the one individual in my family to shift that for future generations to come, right? So that was my intention behind what I did, right? Just like me starting a YouTube channel, right? Once again, what is your why, right? I wanted to uplift consciousness, right? I wanted to educate. So I started a YouTube channel when I was 18 years old, right? This is probably why you're watching that video right now, right? And when I did these things, I did them out of the intention of, okay, am I trying to reach the world out of greed, or am I trying to reach the world out of freedom, right? Am I trying to reach the world out of prosperity and actual love, or am I trying to reach the world out of becoming famous and rich, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to ask yourself these real questions, right? Because once again, when I talk about the universe allowing you to be ready, like the creator is going to approve like your descendants, right? And what I mean by your descendants is when it's your time to be there, you're going to be there, right? What's for you will not miss you, right? Universal law governs all events. So what's for you is never going to miss you, whether that be an opportunity, whether that be an interview, right? Whether that be a relationship, a partner, right? Once again, if you watch my channel, oftentimes I talk about the aspect of letting go to receive, right? The law of equivalent exchange is, and I talked about this in my last video, is the hardest things that we don't want to let go are typically the things that are keeping us from seeing behind this wall, right? It's kind of like if you're looking at a white wall, right? And behind that white wall is your blessing. But to your surface level aspect, right? To the conscious mind, you're just looking at this as a white wall, especially if you're a man. You're rationalizing this being a white wall. But what's behind it? Meaning, what's behind me actually sacrificing my taste buds for a healthier body, right? Me sacrificing and cleansing and fasting, right? To get my temple in the alignment with God, right? What's really behind the aspect of me saying no to the vices and me saying no to the fun and all of these good things right now that I know aren't in alignment with me, right? But they may work for someone else, right? What's behind me saying, okay, I don't want to be that individual, but I want to be myself, right? What is behind these things? What are behind those things are your blessings, right? And what I like to call those things are your testimonies, right? Without no testimony, like literally, there's no test without a testimony. So you have to be battle trained, right? You have to go through a hero's journey. You have to forge yourself to be able to handle running the business, to be able to handle the relationship, and ultimately the marriage that you will be in. You have to allow yourself to be man enough to be vulnerable, right? And come when you know you're at your wits end, right? You know what I'm saying? Speak to God. You know what I'm saying? Speak to you, the universe, in a stature where you can receive and understand and better comprehend, right? Don't just always ask, you know what I'm saying? Expect to receive understanding so that you can solve your own problems, right? And this is what I mean by being open minded. When you're open minded, you don't ask everyone else to solve your problems for you. You ask them to give you the keys so that you can unlock your own door, right? So when you ask for the information, use that information to now do what you need to do. Don't just say it, right? Don't just speak, right? Because words without actions are null and void, right? That's like me cashing a check with 0.0.0.0 dollars on the check. It's null and void, right? It's no need for me even to cash it at that point. But when you do things in alignment with, okay, I'm going to do what I want to do and I'm going to do it with the correct intention, right? I'm going to walk into the coffee shop, right, with high vibrations, right? And I'm going to get a free matcha. I'm going to walk into my job with high vibrations, right? And I'm never going to get complacent, right? I'm going to work up the ladder if I would choose to. I may quit my job and pursue entrepreneurship. You know what I'm saying? I may leave this girl right now because we are not in alignment. I'm not saying that we may not be in alignment later on, but right now our lives are not aligning and our purposes are not aligning. So which means we are conflicting, right? So I have to put my own pride aside and I have to put my own ego aside to realize that this is more important than me, right? And when something is more important than me, that means that it's in God's hands, right? So once again, right, like I just stated, you have to choose, right? You choose the aspect of what you want to walk in. You choose the light you want to walk in. You choose the truth you want to speak, right? You are responsible for the environments that you place yourself in. So therefore, from now on, you have to choose which individual you wake up to be, right? And that individual is a representation of the future version that you are walking towards. It is a representation of the accomplishments. It is a representation of what is to come. It is a representation of what God has in store for you, right? Once again, the universe governs all events. Everything that is meant for you will be for you. Everything that is on its way, it's on its way. No matter if it's standard shipping, no matter if it's express shipping, no matter if it's motherfucking 1 to 2 day shipping, it's on its way. So stop focusing so much on when it's coming and focus on what you're doing in the meantime, right? Listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Keep going, keep prospering, keep staying healthy, keep putting life in you, and continue to pour into your cup. Remember, Without our cup being full, we cannot love properly to anyone else. We cannot give knowledge properly to anyone else. We cannot provide wisdom properly to anyone else. We can't even be of servitude if we're not at a full capacity. If we're not at 100%, we can't help nobody. So make sure that you're pouring into yourself. Make sure that you are loving yourself. Make sure that you are doing what you need to do to serve you, and make sure that that is how you lead your life. Love y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. Keep going, man.